Talks Podcast. Pet Talks Podcast. Pet Talks Podcast. Pet Talks Podcast. Welcome to the Ano Ang Arte Mo series, brought to you by Pet Talks, where we feature our Filipino creatives and their journey towards their own kaartehan. Ikaw, ano bang arte mo? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the pioneer episode of a limited series brought to you by Pet Talks Podcast called Ano Ang Arte Mo? Well, for today's episode, we'll be featuring Filipino creatives and their journey towards pursuing their own kaartehan. And for this pilot episode, we have Tita Thysz.
Hello.
The most camp, the most bongga, the most creative representation of the LGBTQIA+ community here in the Philippines. Tita Thysz, introduce yourself to our dear listeners.
Thank you, Japet, and thank you to everyone who's listening and if ever watching the podcast. So, I'm your Tita Thysz. I'm a freelance writer and marketer who also is the chairperson of the Filipino Anti-Discrimination Alliance of Youth Leaders, or PANTAY, a national organization that is a lobbying organization to ensure that we pass the anti-discrimination bill in our Congress, and many, many other things that we do to ensure that LGBTQIA+ rights are protected in this country. But yes, umaarte talaga ako kasi I also do a lot of creative stuff on the side. So I'm not just a freelance writer or a marketer. I also do a lot of events. And, you know, recently, alam ko si Japet is also into this.
Yes.
So I'm also very much into running. And for that reason, parang we get a lot of the brands na nakakatrabaho ko ngayon are all sports brands. So just recently, I had a fashion show. I creative directed a fashion show for On Philippines, the first fashion show of On, the running brand, what I'm wearing
Yes.
on. And yeah, it was such an amazing experience. And truly, the bongga brand is there.
A multifaceted Tita Thysz in front of you guys. And even though she's wearing a running attire, she puts everything well represented through her scarf right there. And Tita Thysz, okay, madami ka na nabanggit na mga ginagawa mo. You've been into events, you've been into writing, you've been into running as well. And thankfully, you get to do the things that you like doing, which is
Yes.
running, and also practice your creativity through your
Yes.
events with sports brands as well. And so that's your arte, no?
That's kind of my
That's
arte.
kind of your arte, but
Oo.
what's the arte that you want to put out there? Ano talaga, Tita Thysz, ang arte mo?
Well, I always want everyone to remember the events that I do, anything that I do, na parang may mark talaga ng pagkabongga.
Camp,
Like,
yes.
you know, it has to have that unique sense of like, parang may bedazzlement. Parang there's
Bedazzlement.
something
Alright.
extra always. No, it's not just a regular running event.
Mhm.
There has to be something else there, the X factor. It's bedazzled. And it's not just a regular parang meet up of some sort, or like parang like an event that gathers people together. Usually ganun naman yung ano, kaya I'm very rooted in community.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of my first parang things that I really worked for, no? With brands. Dapat makabuo siya ng komunidad. Yun talaga yung goal ko. And through that, bumubongga siya ng bumubongga. Yeah, so that's yun yung pinaka-arte ko. As you've said, parang for some reason, it just so happens na I get, you know, these activities or like projects na in line sa mga bagay na gustong-gusto kong gawin. I believe in the Japanese concept or thought of ikigai,
Yeah.
no? Yung talagang you wanna ensure that nag-overlap yung mga bagay that you like doing, and then what you earn from, and then what makes your spirit full. Yun. I'm in a constant chase of that. Dati kasi sobrang corporate person ako. And I thought na yun yung rurok nung parang
That's the
nung
peak.
the peak of the chase, no? Parang I wanted to be in, because of all the people I also saw na ganito sila successful because of these benchmarks that they put when they are in corporate. But I realized, no, the real success is when you're really happy with what you're doing. You earn from it. It's a modest income, but honest.
Mhm.
But that happiness talaga, no? Because that will it's not just your happiness na nagbubunga, no? It also radiates to other
Radiates.
people, and that's what makes it bedazzling.
Yeah, and I would also agree, no, na parang kapag hindi ka pilit sa trabahong ginagawa mo, parang you always have this infinite space for you to grow. Na parang, okay, I'm in this space, I'm organizing a running event, but I'm not just a runner. I'm an extra person. And this is the space where I can give it my all, na parang hindi ka napapagod.
Correct. Because giving it your all, you know exactly what the impact of that is,
Yes.
'di ba? Gagaan yung trabaho ng everyone around you. The event is something that's close to your heart. So
Yeah.
you know exactly what kind of things you're going to encounter, and you prepare for them, make it better. You ang tawag sa ganun, yung parang inaasahan, yung mga inaasahan nilang mangyayari, na-anticipate mo na-address mo na kaagad.
Yeah.
So it's not for people siguro na coming into it from nothing, yung hindi nila alam yung parang ano bang gagawin
Bang
dito,
gagawin
like kailangan pa nilang pag-aralan. They can't anticipate those needs kasi hindi naman sila nandun eh,
Mhm.
'di ba? So, and they won't necessarily understand it immediately. Kailangan palang gawin to. But if you're that person, magkakahalo na yung creative mo, idea mo, dun pa rin yung thing na pinakagusto mong gawin, and sa isang Venn diagram sila na nagmi-meet sa gitna, parang napaka-natural.
Yes.
No, it's so natural. Parang walang, sabi mo nga, hindi siya pilit.
Hindi siya pilit.
Correct. So it gives for more fulfilling results for everyone involved.
Yeah, I love your goal. The goal of Ikigai, to find something that you love doing, that you can earn from, and that people will find value from. And since you've mentioned that there was a journey that led you here.
Yes.
Since you've mentioned na parang you've been into corporate, you've been into writing, hanggang mapunta ka sa posisyon na to na you get to be extra about the events that you do, no? So, can you tell us more about the journey that led you here, back in college, after college, the first project that you had, the first work that you had? Let us know kung saan nagsimula yung mga kaartehan na to ni Tita Thysz.
All right, thank you. So it really started. Well, I have an incredibly unorthodox na career. So it feels like it's swinging from one end to one end, ganun siya, no? And dati kasi sa generation namin, mga elder millennials, sobrang discouraged yung maging ganun, no? Yung parang kalat-kalat yung mga gusto mong gawin or napakarami ng gustong gawin. They always want you to do
Focus
just
on
one thing.
Specialize on one thing.
Ganyan. Or like, ganun yung vina-value noon. But they did not realize na kaya may mga taong unhappy at hindi tumatalon-talon sa ganun. Kasi they're supposed to do in this world more things than just one.
Yeah.
Diba? And they have energy for all those things. And for a lot of times, parang na-feel ako, na-guilt trip ako in that sense. So, just one example. When I was in college, I took up linguistics in UP Diliman. And linguistics is it's a very parang academic, technical, scientific type of course. The only parang prospect mo ng employment doon ay maging professor ka, instructor, professor, ganyan, researcher. Pero, and when I went there, parang doon ako nawalan ng parang energy na parang ano ba yan? Parang hindi ko na ata nakikita yung sarili ko na maging specialized sa ganitong klaseng trabaho. So, I found reasons to hang out in places that I know can match the creativity that I feel like within me. So, tumambay akong lagi sa masscom, tumatambay ako sa film, kasi tuntua ako sa the way they talk na about creativity, na parang, ganito ko gustong gawin yung pelikula ko. Tapos ako parang wide-eyed lang ako kasi wala akong ganun
okay,
opportunity.
sana ako rin.
Oh,
diba?
yun ganun, sana ako rin. Or like parang, but I was very shy about the whole thing. Parang I was just an observer then. But the good thing about it is I was exposed to people who are really and truly creative. Imagine kabatch ko si Pepe Diokno. Pepe Diokno is one of our best directors around, no? Anak ni Chel, attorney Chel Diokno. And he was one of those parang wonder parang students nung time namin because he was still a student when he made his first feature film.
Nice.
As in, lumabas talaga yung pelikula pinanood namin. Parang we cannot believe na parang, oh my God, ang galing-galing na agad ni Pepe. And now he's still, namamayagpag pa rin siya. He's still very big in the industry. But what I really feel in that time is parang, I cannot be limited to just this one. So after, but the reality of, life has to set in. I'm not from a rich background or a wealthy background. So, sobrang lower middle class ng pamilya, galing pang probinsya, and I had other siblings na nag-aaral pa din at that time. So, I had to work in corporate agad. So, I started working in a bank. But even then, I was trying my best to be creative. Lumalabas talaga yung creative juice. And alam mo naman, pag bakla or pag diba, LGBT, talaga ang number one. Parang kailangan namin mag-decorate ng office.
Okay, pag
Parang,
Pasko na.
Halloween or Pasko. Or kailangan sumayaw. Lagi, guys, pwede mo mong i-choreo yung sayaw namin.
Okay.
Tapos parang ako naman na, hindi naman talaga super galing sumayaw. Pero bida-bida.
Mhm.
Bida-bida. At may concept. Laging may concept, may idea. Bakit hindi ganito yung gawin natin? Ayan. So, ilang concept din ang lumabas sa akin dun sa bangkong yon. Ilang Christmas party din ang mga nagawa natin ng mga konsepto at mga design, ng mga decorations. I remember, I even directed a fashion show.
Nice.
For this bank. Imagine.
What? Like,
so nagka-fashion show kami for this bank. So ang mga kasama
Nice.
namin were managers, senior managers, because it was employee day and they wanted something different. Hindi naman yung usual na kumakanta, sumasayaw, ganyan. We did a fashion show. So dinamitan namin
it
sila.
was your idea?
It was my idea.
Nice.
And
Who would have thought?
Diba? Na pinayagan ng HR.
Tama.
Diba? But I told them, it was my first love. Fashion is my first love. Dun talaga yung una kong creative energy. But then, so, dun I'm just so happy that organization, encouraged me to still pursue that kind of creativity on the side because I feel like meron talaga siya sa loob-loob ko. And then afterwards, I left the bank. I went to a food and beverage business. And then, dun na-test naman yung marketing and advertising skills ko, no? PR. Because that was a time and I didn't even study it, but to me, I was just, I studied a bit of human behaviors. So that helped me a lot in the marketing side for that food and beverage brand. So dun ako na-exposed to create campaigns. I remember, imagine milk tea brand lang kami pero meron kaming summer campaign.
Nice.
Diba?
When was this?
This is, my God, ang tagal na. 2010, 2011.
Okay, so hindi pa uso yung mga campaigns.
Wala pa talaga.
2010s.
Imagine, usually, when you think of campaigns, summer campaigns, rainy campaigns, it's usually in fashion, no?
Yeah.
But we integrated it in food and beverage. Meron kaming mga t-shirts, ginawa namin parang streetwear, yung namin. So, meron kaming mga implanners, meron kaming ganon. But it truly became a brand na malapit sa community niya. So, our peg then was to be like Starbucks. Ganon yung namin, maging peg, na maging third place ng mga estudyante. And I think the 4 years that I was there, na-achieve naman namin. Very proud of what we've done. The team that I was handling there went on to become leaders then in their fields. Yeah. So I'm very proud of them. And then afterwards, I moved back to corporate and stayed there for 7 years. But during that time, I found out na may pa rin ako, predilection for creativity pa rin. So doon ako nag-freelance writer first as a food writer for the Philippine Star. So that was one of my best jobs ever. Pinakamasarap literally na trabaho.
Why? Because
I ate at the
food.
first, like for example, I would be the first writer to ever eat at a new restaurant.
Okay, that's the job.
That's the job. The job. Because imagine I would eat for free. Like I had so much food. Kasi syempre papatry ka nila ng mga best nila, di ba? Tapos sunod-sunod lang yan. And then there's wine and the fancier it is. Like, oh, heaven, as in. And all you need to do is to write about your experience, di ba? So, I had to review, hindi naman review, it's more of a feature. So, I had to feature like 1 or 2 restaurants a month Ang saya, diba?
So, yeah.
And then, they even flew me to Boracay, Palawan, to try restaurants na bagong bukas doon. And then, we had like an entire issue dedicated to Boracay food.
Nice.
Tapos ako lang yung writer. Tapos parang, I tried all of them. I was there for a week.
It's like biyahe ni Thysz.
I know. Pero on paper.
On
On paper. But, and then, yeah, it's beautiful. I had, it was also production work because I had a team. Meron akong producer and then meron akong photographer. No? So sila yung nagtitake nung ano. I had to decide, okay, ganito dapat itsura niya, ganito. It was so much fun. I really like doing that. But we all know, nagkaroon ng demise yung publishing industry. So, umalis na rin ako doon. But with a full-time job, I also got to work with bigger communications brands like Globe. During that time, I wrote their YouTube series, travel series, one of the best experiences of my life. I traveled around the Philippines and became the writer for that series. It's called Scene Zoned. But the Scene Zoned, scene is spelled as S-C-E-N-E.
Okay, S-C.
So scene, like parang the scene zoned. So it was incredible to see my own idea really got developed by a big brand, and it was a co-branded thing with Samsung. It was to launch, oh my God, sobrang tagal na, their Galaxy 7. Basta it's the imagine 7 pa.
Galaxy S25 na tayo next year.
S25 na ata tayo next year. 7! Girl, 7.
Okay.
So, S7. So, it was, we went all around the Philippines. It got to 2 seasons, and it won an award for one of the best travel shows online. And I was so proud. The team that I worked there was like one of the most fun teams that I had. And until now, nakakatrabaho ko pa rin yung isa-isa sa kanila kasi nag-iba-iba na rin sila ng mga agency. But imagine getting the trust of a big brand like Globe to write something na they spend millions for. Like, it was really, medyo it's a boost in the ego na kaya ko pala tong gawin at may somebody believes in me and puts money into my ideas. Parang game, diba? It's also the one that made me feel more confident about my talent. Because after 7 years in that corporate setting, I left that company. And when I left them, in my head, it was like, you know what? It was during the pandemic pala, so it's 2020. And we were on lockdown. It was just too much to bear for my mental health na parang nakakulong tayo sa mga bahay natin. As an extrovert, ang hirap-hirap nun talaga. And then sabi ko, you know what? Magugunaw na yung mundo. Pag hindi ko pa ginawa yung gusto kong gawin, ano na, 'di ba?
Yeah.
'Di ba? Pag puro ako pagsisisi kung ganun yung mangyayari sa akin. So I left and I told myself this period of my life, I'm going to allow myself the next 10 years of my life to be the most creative of my entire life. I would want to make the best work that I could ever do in this period, this creative period. So ito yun. This is that stretch of year. It's almost half a decade na I'm doing freelance creative work. And after that, there was so much fear kasi galing ka sa corporate, diba? There's security with your work, and then going to freelancing and becoming a writer. And then di ko alam na magiging producer pala ako eventually. Pupunta ako sa events or creative ideation. Parang di ko alam kung what to expect. It was just like, okay, I have saved enough money for me to live. But also, I want to explore how far I could go here. Walang 2 weeks, tumawag agad yung isang kaibigan. Thysz, we need a writer for our project. And then he was like, sabi ko, sige, game ako. Kailan, ganyan. Well, let's develop it, ganyan. Sino yung client? Netflix. Sabi ko, oh my God, agad talaga ba? I'm gonna write something for Netflix.
To the freelancing.
I know.
Welcome back.
Wow. And then I was so blessed with more and more projects after that na big ticket projects. So I was able to write my first documentary. And I could not imagine na may ganun pala akong talent na may huhugot somewhere sa utak ko, 'di ba? Pero it was there. Nakagawa kami ng documentary. It premiered globally sa Vice Asia channel. Yung it's a channel in the United States na they have an Asia component. And then sunod-sunod na mga ads. I was able to write for a lot of ads. I was able to write for Vice Ganda, an ad for Vice Ganda. Imagine, like, and she approved my script. Like, parang napatawa ko si Vice.
The
parang,
most witty
the most
human
witty,
being in the
diba?
Philippines.
And like, ang pinakagrabe din ang standard. You know,
Yes.
how legendary ang kanyang work ethic, ang kanyang standards. Pero na-approve yon. Oh my God. So, I was so happy. During, naalala ko lang when we were in the set, like, sabi niya, she was very thankful for having that kind of idea. She likes that hindi daw ako nag-hold back dun sa idea na gawin siyang medyo out of this world kasi yung concept namin. Ginawa namin siyang parang, there was a point in the ad na naging parang higante siya. And then, tontuwa siya. Gusto niya yung mga ganun distortion, apparently. So,
bilang unkabogable star.
Unkabogable talaga.
You matched her freak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Somebody matched the freak. But yeah, so, ganun klase mga proud moments. And then, it just boosted my confidence, no? Until now, na, like, I'm doing special. What I think right now, mga ginagawa ko, is more of special project. Parang like, for example, brands would just come to me and say, na parang, Thysz, we don't have budget for a huge, like, parang agency, but we want you to think of something for us. And sabi ko, let's do it. Na parang, it's just like friends doing something together, like a special project together. Ganun ko siya ina-approach lagi, no? Hindi siya ganun ka-seryoso in terms of like parang yung agency job na parang, oh my God, you have to look at this, ganun. Parang, it keeps the relationship light. It keeps the work light. Light in a sense na yung feeling hindi yung ngarag. Ganyan. But there's always an expectation na parang, may ang bongga, papunta to ng bongga. Everyone works because they see the vision. Yung mga ganong klaseng thing. And then, ganun din. Yung parang, I work in a way na hindi rin ako sobrang overwhelmed. Like, I like na, dati kasi nagiging part ako ng mga agencies, no? And I would handle 5 projects at one time. Na medyo crazy, mga timelines. Pero, right now, parang, I'm just happy to get to pick what I want to do. Na, like, yun nga, ikigai nga. Parang, why would I do something that I'm not happy? Like, sabi nga ni Samantha in Sex and the City na parang, I don't want to be in a situation even for 1 minute na I'm not enjoying myself. Exactly. Like, word.
Exactly
like,
what you said to yourself.
Diba? Sabi ko, if I'm not enjoying it, it is not worth it immediately. I have to, number 1 talaga, enjoy it. Have fun with it. Yun yung arte ko siguro. Kung like personal arte.
That's your personal arte.
That's my personal arte. Pero, yeah, so that's why I always chase those opportunities na I know masaya akong gagawin ko siya kasi parte siya ng mga interest ko. Or alam ko na it will impact something else. Kasi aside from being a creative, full-time creative, I also am a chairperson of a national advocacy organization. And we know that the thing that we're always looking for in that kind of parang things or mga ginagawa namin sa mga ganong organization is really the impact. No, hinahanap natin yung kung anong impact meron tayo dun sa buhay ng mga tao. Kami ang namin, it's an LGBTQIA+ organization. We know naman kung gaano kahirap yun. 'Di ba? Yung pamumuhay ng LGBTQIA+ na for example, member pa ng urban poor or like kulang sa opportunities. Kung hindi namin sila matulungan, 'di ba? Parang para saan pa yung lahat ng ginagawa ko? Gusto ko ng something na may impact. So, dun din ako nagkakaroon ng masaya na feeling na yun yung feeling ko na na-enjoy ko siya. Na-enjoy ko siya kasi nakikita ko yung impact na nangyayari dun sa mga nabibigyan namin ng mga opportunities at pagkakataon.
I would also relate to what you said na greatness comes from the impact that you want to see. And if you seek meaning into the things that you put, even though how small the work is or how big, parang the example that you gave when you were in agencies, 'di ba? Parang medyo bato-bato lahat ng trabaho, ang daming deadlines, and then you lost the sense of meaning into it. You just want to finish it.
Yeah.
Right?
And, well, I cannot fault anyone who thrives in the agency
Yeah.
setup. Kasi may ganun talaga din naman tao.
Mhm.
Na dun talaga sila nagta-thrive. And then, like, parang good for them.
Yeah.
Parang, I love that for you, but not for me. To use a drag race reference. Pero yeah, yun nga, parang, in my age, wow, ang tanda. Parang, tapos na ako sa ganon. Yung parang, like, wala naman na akong, I don't think may kailangan pa akong patunayan.
Yeah.
The only thing that I want, and I learned this from running, yes, na it's just you versus you. Diba?
Literally, you versus
wala
you.
akong kailangan patunayan sa iba. May kailangan akong patunayan ay sa sarili ko.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang, and that's why I have to really enjoy it. I have to really enjoy what I'm doing. If there's less than, or any minute na hindi ko na-enjoy yung sarili ko, I can't find worth in it. Diba?
Because it's a long race. Long race in marathon, long race in life.
It's a long journey. And if you keep on sprinting, nauubos yung energy mo, like, parang, in the end, it will, papagurin ka lang nung ginagawa mo at nauubos ka. Kaya ako maubos. I feel like I have so many more ideas in my head that just waiting to burst out, waiting to get produced, waiting to get started. And to be honest, sinasabi ko nga parang naubusan na ba ako ng oras dahil ba because of my age, ganyan. Pero nasa isip ko, wala kasi ito yung binigay sa akin. Sa ganitong era ako nag-exist. Ganitong era ako binigyan ng chance to show what I can do and what I cannot do. So, iti-take advantage ko na siya. I don't ever think about age. I don't ever think about maturity or like parang, or immaturity in that sense, diba? Gawa lang gawa.
Diba? So sa lahat ng mga ginawa mo, no, we've heard a lot of great stories, great results because you're doing what you like doing. You enjoyed every single moment of it, even Vice ganda. The unkabogable queen found your work very unkabogable. Those are the good things. Those are the good sides. Those are the very pleasant sides of the things that you do in the creative industry. And before we transition to, most painful parts of your creative journey, we'll be cutting the camera first because we'll be transitioning into another cut, right? All right, so we talked about all the good side, all the perfect side, all of the unkabogable side of Tita Thysz in the creative industry or creative/corporate industry. So ngayon, let's dive deep into the things na hindi mo makakalimutan na pinakamasasakit na memories in the creative industry or your journey all throughout. What are the most challenging or most painful, most remarkable things that people said to you or technically your general experience? What was pinakamasakit?
Ako, talaga, loss of some relationships. Yun talaga yung pinaka-painful for me. Because I value friendships and relationships a lot. As in, that's how you move forward in this business. Actually, any business, but more so in creative businesses. It's really the connections and relationships you make. But the same way that it's, something it's very human to make connections. It's also very human to experience some negative feelings around certain people. So, or ayun ko, nasisira dahil sa mga chika na hindi naman warranted. Alam mo yun, when I was a lot younger, parang, ewan ko ba, very high school pa rin yung mindset ng mga tao nung time na yun. Parang, alam mo, nag-grupo-grupo. Tapos pag, hindi natin batiyan.
Okay, yeah.
Yung grupo ngayon, hindi natin batiyan, so hindi natin sila kakausapin. Or we'll never get them. Or like, alam mo yon, it's very tribal.
You cannot sit with us.
Can't sit with us. Kaya ganun, it's very tribal. Or, just some loss of relationships dahil sa mga misunderstanding. So, parang, yun yung pinaka, for me, painful. Yung may mga tao kang nakilala noon na hindi mo na, maganda naman yung memories mo sa kanila at first. But then, something happened and then you just chose to move forward, grow apart, parang ganun. Pero ayun, yun yung painful sa akin. Kung sana hindi na lang yun nangyari, parang at smooth sailing na lang lahat, okay, 'di ba? Pero kasi that also teaches you about setting your boundaries eh. Kasi definitely when those things happen, may mga boundaries na na-cross. And kung hindi mo yun enforce, wala, parang magpapatuloy yung abuse. Either magpapatuloy yung masamang nagawa ko sa kanila in their perspective or masama nilang nagawa sa akin in my perspective, 'di ba? So, to ensure na okay kayong lahat, and then the option was to grow apart.
Yeah.
But yun yung painful. Painful things na nasabi sa akin sa trabaho ko, marami namang nasabi, ang daming chika, syempre dami nating hindi natin ano yan, marami talagang mahilig chumika, pero hanggang chika lang naman sila.
Okay.
Yun lang yung ano ko, parang gawa kayo ng magandang thing, 'di ba? Parang babalik sa inyo lahat yan. Kasi nga, opinions are opinions. Like, you know, andyan yan lagi. Like, there is an equal amount of things that said about your stuff, the thing that you do, na maganda. Ang dami ding pangit na pwedeng masabi. So, it's really just a matter of like sifting through and realizing, ano ba dito yung totoong constructive? And then, totoong pwede kong ilagay dun sa trabaho ko. Okay, babaguhin ko to kasi totoo naman, hindi maganda. Pero, eto parang OA naman na to. Parang hindi naman na to nangyari. Parang ganito talaga yung feeling niya. Ganyan. Parang, 'di ba? Kasi ganun ako approach ng project. Very inclusive, very accommodating. Yung, kinonsider talaga yung needs ng marami, no? As much as I can. Kasi I know how it feels to be left behind or not considered.
Yeah.
Especially pag mga LGBT, transgender, ang dami talagang, my God, issues na nangyayari sa isang event, isang production, or ganyan, na hindi ka considered. And ayokong ma-feel yun ng ibang tao, di ba? Pero kung may nasabi pa rin at nagawa mo na yun lahat, ay, nasa kanila na yun. At, you know, for as long as clear, my conscience is clear, ginawa ko na maayos yung trabaho ko. Like, you know, I leave their opinions to them. Bahala na sila. Kung may naalala ko specific na painful na sinabi, parang I don't think I could remember anything recent. Pero for the most part, siguro nabablock ko na lang sa utak. Hindi ko na, I can't remember kasi binlock ko na lang.
Yeah.
Dinilulo ko na lang na, like, parang, ay, wala.
Catch and release lang tayo dito.
So, parang, ay, okay, sige. Pero, yeah, maturity comes when you know what kinds of opinions you want in, no? Anong klase mga opinion yung vina-value mo na. Kasi kung lahat pinakinggan mo, nabaliw ka, no? I promise. As in, hindi ka na, and then you will stop making.
Yes.
Kasi na-paralyze ka nung feeling na parang, paano kung next kong gagawin ganito ulit, failure ulit, or baka they say things that are painful, ganyan, o masakit na mga sinasabi, ganyan. Hindi ka nagagawa. No? Kawawa ka naman.
Agree.
Parang like, diba, you're paralyzed into over-anxiety about what people could say.
Yeah, actually.
And the greatest artists don't necessarily even care about what people would say. They just know that they just believe so much na kailangan lumabas tong gusto nilang gawin. That this has to be done, you know? Lalabas to, kailangan siyang ma-produce. It has to be created. Ganun yung ano niya. So, yun, I guess, dun ko na lang iniisip yung ganong principles. To become more mature about criticism is to sift through actual criticism and what counts as just mere, personal opinion. Kasi ako, diba, papa-apekto ka sa personal opinion niya. Hindi ka niya type. Diba? Burger, pizza. Type niya pizza, ikaw burger. Sinabi niya, type ko, ayoko ng burger, type ko pizza. Tapos samahan ng ugali mo, burger lang ako eh. Hindi ka magiging pizza, diba? Hindi. Tanggapin mo naman, okay? Tapos kinain ka rin naman kasi burger, may nasarapan ng burger. O, di ba? Burger ka. Ganong, nasa, ano talaga siya. Ganong klaseng maturity na lang. No? Hindi yung, I guess, that saying that says, stop trying to be liked by everybody, you don't even like everybody.
Yeah, agree.
Diba?
Parang you have to ask yourself first, do you even like them?
Diba?
Yeah.
Bakit? Why do I have to be liked by... I thought before na ganon. Na parang people have to like me. Parang I cannot do anything na hindi na ako makakalike. Naging spineless tuloy ako. Alam mo yun, naging people thought of me as parang, parang wala naman siyang sariling opinion o parang ganon, di ba? So when I started thinking more for myself and, holding myself towards some certain standards regards na, ganito. Gusto ko ganito, ganito. And because I like this. Hindi mo ba inisip na baka gusto ni ganito, ganyan? Gusto ko to eh. Bakit? Ito yung arte ko.
Yeah.
Pero yeah, you have to have healthy amount of parang understanding ng taste level mo din.
Yeah.
Diba? You have to trust your taste level if you're going to be... Kasi pag sinabing, ito opinion ko about this, masakit talaga siya, diba? But then you trust your taste level, hindi lang niya ako taste. I'm just not their type.
Agree.
Diba?
Kasi you will never be that very extravagant creative that you are right now if you try to conform to what they preferred to you. Or to what they preferred na dapat ganun ka. You won't be as remarkable. You won't be as significant if
correct.
You continue, okay, sige, I'll just fix it for you. I'll just fix it to your preference. Sige, i-minimize ko na lang po.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Tita Thysz iconic.
Diba? And for the most part, I'm really grateful for the brands I'm working with. Kasi they understand na ang point nitong dapat nating gawin ay ganito. And the reason why you hired me is because of this. It's
because
supposed to be extra. It's supposed to be...
you.
Yeah. It's supposed to be extra. Again, it's about trusting your own taste level. You cannot explain that with a straight face and with an incredible confidence if you don't trust your taste level. Hindi talaga. So, but it comes with experience. So, try to develop. To be honest, yun yung number one ko sinasabi sa mga anak-anakan ko, mga creatives. Develop your taste. Yun talaga yung number one. As in, like, watch those films that inspire you. Listen to music that inspires you. Watch art that inspires you. People who inspire you. Then create your own taste after that. Kasi bubuuin mo yan. Yan yung pinaka-confident kang i-share.
Yes.
Diba? Pag ikaw na yung mag-synthesize. Kasi hindi naman yan, hindi pangungopya ha. Kung sinasabing mag-plagiarize ha. Pero ikaw kasi yung, ganito kasi yan, unique kang individual. Lahat tayo, you're unique. The way you do things is unique. I do things is unique. Diba? But we are going to be fed with many, many different things that inspires us. May mga marami dyan na pare-pareho. Like, for example, we both like this something and we are inspired by this something. But your synthesis, kung paano mo siya naintindihan, kung paano ko rin siya inintindi,
my point of view towards it
is different.
Yes.
So that's what makes the output different. So kung ano yung output mo, yung synthesis mo from itong inspiration natin, that's what makes it different. Diba? Ako din, I put my own spin in it, my own taste, ganyan siya. So yun yung mga magandang, I think it's a way to make the audience, ako I'm talking to people who are listening right now, if they're looking for like, paano ko ba paano ko ba mapoprotect yung sarili ko from being sad about somebody talking about my work and then negative siya. Trust your taste first, diba? And if you haven't trusted your taste, baka hindi ka pa nandun sa ganong level.
Explore more about it.
Yeah.
So, talking about uniqueness, talking about our own significance, individuality, no, na wag ka dapat mangopya. Let's talk about Tita Thysz. Let's talk about AI in writing. So, I know that you have a very, deep take on this. No, what's your take about AI daw replacing the writers in the Philippines? Because we all know na kung hindi mo i-introduce yung sarili mo bilang writer, walang makakaalam na may mga writer pala sa Pilipinas. Akala nila pag nakakabasa ka, nakakasulat ka, you can write these concepts. But writing is a very underrated job here in the Philippines. It's a very underrated craft. And what's your take about AI might be taking down the human beings when it comes to writing?
Well, I've always believed na AI is just a tool.
Yes.
No? It's a tool. It's really just a tool. And AI will replace writers who don't know how to use the tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't necessarily think na AI will replace the writers like 100%. But yung writer na hindi marunong gumamit ng tool, yun yung mapapalitan niya. So, how does it work? Ito kasi so like for example, again, underrated skill ang writing, 'di ba?
Yes.
And a lot of us aren't in it in a wholly professional setting kasi nga a lot of the writers that working now are working 2-3 jobs, no? Kasi unfortunately sa Philippines, writing doesn't pay as well,
Yes.
no? And truly unfortunate because a lot of the ideas of all these things come from people who can write, diba? And I know we gotta value writers more. But then since hindi nga siya something na nakaka-sustain ng as a livelihood, very few people are able to do it. Maraming writers and meron din namang handful of writers na kaya nasa-sustain yung buhay nila through writing. Pero rare sila and it takes them a long time to become that, no? And also they could have come from more privileged backgrounds. Kaya hindi rin naman nila kailangan ng ganun kalaking pera or like they settled into writing because all their other basic needs are met. Pero yung ibang, kailangan talagang kumayod kasi kailangan ng pangkain, pampaaral, pang ganito, ganyan. 'Di ba? And then writing lang yung kabubuhay niya. Nako, hirap talaga dahil. Kailangan they would probably be working 2 to 3 jobs or move on to other writing jobs or jobs that are in production, like become a producer, and all those other peripheral na work, no, sa production. Or sometimes they become directors, but like tumalo na sila doon, diba? But then ayun na nga, parang yung parte ng AI doon nakakalungkot kasi once people think na kaya nilang i-run through the AI, ChatGPT, yung isang bagay, yun na nakapagsulat na sila and their writers. A real writer would use AI as a tool and then improve on what it sees. 'Di ba? Sabi ko nga sa'yo, yung personal taste mo, that will differentiate.
Yes.
Yun yung synthesis, 'di ba? Yun yung dulo, 'di ba? Kung anong flavor, personal flavor mo nilagay doon. Yun yung dulo. So kung masaya ka na dun sa output ni ChatGPT, tas hanggang ganun lang siya, tas game na, naku, hinayaan mo yung machine na mag-dictate ng taste mo. Gawin yun mo, you may get away with it once or twice, pero eventually people will see na yung ginawa mo sounds like everybody else. Or like, wala na siyang distinction, diba? Doesn't have the feel, the sound of Thysz Estrada who wrote something. Like, who wrote a documentary, or, diba? Or who wrote a really funny script for a comedic ad for Vice Ganda, diba? So, parang, you have to realize that it's a tool. ChatGPT is an amazing editor. It's an amazing way to synthesize your thoughts. You can feed it your thoughts and then it will give you back, some clarity on how you want to approach things. But at the end of it all, ikaw pa rin talaga dapat ang nagsusulat. At you put in your personal flavor there. Because I don't think, para siyang, for example, runner ka. Wow. Runner. 'Di ba? Pero nagkaroon ng machine na parang kaya mong tumakbo, parang ipa-plug ka lang sa machine na yon. Tapos, ang equivalent ay parang tumakbo ka na ng 30 minutes. Well, do you think your muscles would move the same way if you actually ran 30 minutes outside or even, treadmill? Basta yung body mechanics mo, 'di ba? At yung machine na yun is just makes you feel like you've done a workout for 30 minutes? No. Kasi walang na-exercise na muscles or buto or like, walang change dun sa body mo nangyari. It was just the feeling that came out. Diba? The machine just like made you feel that you worked out. Pero hindi talaga siya totoo. Same way with using AI as a tool. Or not as a tool, using it just as is. Diba? Hindi ka nag-synthesize. And I always tell this to friends when they ask me about AI or people who ask me about AI na since AI is a tool, imagine expecting a hammer to create a house for you. 'Di ba? Kung kaya nung hammer na mag-create na ng bahay ng ganun, walang guidance, ganun ang ginagawa mo sa with AI, no? Hinahayaan mo siya, pupukpukin niya lahat ng kahit hindi naman kapukpok-pukpok. Because the hammer will look at everything, and because it's a hammer, or it will just, it's used to hit things, it will hit everything, no? Wala nang editing, hindi niya iisipin na, ito hindi ko pala dapat pupukpukin. Ang nangyari, nasira yung kailangan mong gawin sana. A hammer will need a hand, a brain, the eyes to work so that it will discern saan niya dapat pupukpukin yung mga bagay. Ganun din ang AI. 'Di ba? It needs a guiding hand. 'Di ba? So, if you treat it that way, you will make your work more efficient. It will not replace you. Ang mapapalitan ay yung mga hindi marunong gumamit ng AI. Kasi it's a reality na in the world. Andyan na andyan na siya. Kung hindi mo siya i-harness, if you don't think of how you're gonna use it to improve your craft, dun ka mapapalitan. But I don't think all of AI will replace the craft. The best ideas still come from humans who can synthesize what they've learned, what they've observed in the real world. Wala namang mata si AI.
Yeah.
Diba? Nakikita ba niya yung experience ng taong pinagpapawisan sa pila, tapos yung parang nasa isip niya, hopeless na ba yung buhay ko kasi ganito, ganyan. And then interpret that for, like, example, a movie scene, or like an ad, or like a comic book. Diba? Yung ganong klaseng feelings. Diba? Hindi niya ma-articulate yun kasi wala naman siya sa labas ng ano. So, ayun, parang to me, AI will evolve. I just wish though na sana yung AI, sila na lang yung nagtatapon ng basura, siya na lang.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Siya na lang yung manual labor na lang yung palitan niya. Para ako,
all of the mundane things
diba?
That we wish we do not do every day.
Correct.
Right?
Parang maliktad yata yung nangyari sa mundo. Bakit siya pa yung nag-artistic?
Siya pa yung nag-courtside reporting.
Correct. Ba't siya pa yung arte? 'Di ba? Siya na lang dapat yung gumawa ng mga mahirap na trabaho.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Tayo, may time tayo gumawa ng art.
Right. And actually, tama yung sinabi mo kanina na actually AI, yung database niya from past events. But you as a human being, you have this vision moving forward na parang what do you want to see in the future? And AI doesn't have that quality.
Yes. Wala siyang, hindi niya, kahit gaano pa niya kasabihin na I could imagine this or that. Yun nga, tama ka. Yung dataset niya ay galing from past events.
From past events.
So, parang mahihirapan siya to envision a world na, hindi pa naiisip ever.
Yes.
And human innovation has always relied on our capability to imagine. Diba? So until AI can imagine, parang safe pa naman tayo, guys.
Yes. And the greatest ideas come from the craziest people who really believes in the vision that it's gonna happen in the future. But thankfully, AI doesn't have that imagination that we have right now. So
I don't think so. Parang I think AI has developed so fast.
Yes,
super fast in the last 3 years, and expected to develop even further. But the issue remains na it's taking data, yung subsets niya, lahat ng kung saan siya kumukuha nung alam niya, are information from people na gumawa nito before. So, yung copyright, access, ganyan, those are main issues now for AI. It could do us good. AI could do us good. Definitely, ang dami-dami naman ang natulungan ng AI for certain, even health, no? In health and in the sciences. Pero in the arts, for as long as it relies on past work to do its current work, it's it's really a copyright issue, no? Kawawa yung mga nag-produce before na nagagamit yung mga ginagawa nila. So, yun.
Yeah, and all of those sad things about AI and all of the things na we have to be very aware of as we move forward to being a creative here in the Philippines. So, moving forward with the last part of this podcast episode, ito na yung wishlist natin. Malapit na kasi magpasko, Tita Thysz.
Oh my God!
Santa! So, Santa, tell me. So, ano yung wishlist mo na sana in the next few years, ito na yung maging improvement sa Pilipinas when it comes to how the Filipinos treat the creatives here in the Philippines, how the companies treat the creatives here in the Philippines, and how can we further, the awareness of the Filipinos na we exist, writers exist, graphic designers exist, and we have value that is also tantamount to a value. So, what are the wish lists that you want to see?
Ako, unang-una talaga, that there's government acknowledgement of the economic impact of creative work in the Philippines. Kasi if we can equate creative work with the kind of things that, like for example, manufacturing industry gives in the service industry provides, yung ganong klaseng monetary equivalent, no? And I think it's very high. Philippine creativity is at an all-time high. We all know Filipinos are really creative. And then, maraming jobs na, under employed yung mga tao kasi nga hindi nila na-value yung work, or yung mga taong tatlo ang trabaho kasi hindi niya mapakain yung sarili niya sa creative work. Yun, issue na yun eh. Dapat kung creative ka, you should have a livable income, livable wage, no? Dun sa isang trabaho na ginagawa mo. And then, I guess, isa pa is working conditions ng ating mga creative workers. We see that in the movie production industry and creative and advertising production na their timelines are so long. They shoot movies na pa talaga 24 hours, 32 hours straight. And bawal na yun sa ibang bansa eh. Diba? Parang,
Korea.
Like, bawal siya. They're very strict about timelines when they have to work. And then, diba, bakit hindi natin ginagawa yun sa Pilipinas? Parang, we could do our best work when our people are in their most optimum state. Hindi yung ang expectation ay dapat puyat yan kasi
para masulit natin, ma-maximize.
Trabaho, kailangan puyat talaga kasi yun yung dedication mo sa work mo. Bayaning puyat ka, B. Hindi naman ka papatayuan ng rebulto. Diba? Tapos, pero, ayun nga, so that's one. And then it has, to me, that's one of those things na pwedeng pumasok ang gobyerno to help regulate that, to ensure the safety of our workers, no? And then, compensation talaga. Yun talaga yung number one. As in, I hope there's a standard that we could follow in terms of compensation na it's fair and it's a livable wage. Na hindi na kailangan magtrabaho ng isa pa o dalawa pang trabaho ang isang creative worker, no? Nakakapag-focus siya sa craft niya kasi compensated siya. Hindi niya kailangan lumipad ng ibang bansa. Nagkakaroon ng brain drain dito sa Pilipinas, ng creative brain drain.
Oh, grabe.
Like recently, isa kong kilala, moved his entire creative agency to Dubai. Kasi alam niyang dun siya mas kikita ng mas malaking pera kung dun niya i-base yung creative agency niya. Sabi ko, sayang naman yan. Ganda-ganda nung output ni friend ko na yon. Meron din isa na naalala ko, nung nagde-develop pa ang advertising agency industry sa Cambodia, yung isang kaibigan, dinala niya yung talents niya doon. Kasi dati siyang director dito ng mga advertising director siya dito. Pumunta siya ng Cambodia. Ngayon siya yung isang mga pinakasikat na advertising director sa Cambodia. As in, kasi sila yung mga nagsimula doon. So imagine they had to leave to find people who value their work, can pay them well. And it's supposedly hindi, di ba? And we know that this is because of systems. No, hindi naman to dahil hindi rin nila nahanap yung mga nila kailangan gawin dito sa Pilipinas. Pero sistema yung kailangan magbago. And since sistema ang rason, yung may capability din to change the system, yun dapat gumalaw, which is in fact our government, and then can enforce laws and certain structure, standards in place para mabigyan ng value yung mga creative workers natin. So, yun yung mga wish. Ang seryoso ng wishlist ko. Gusto ko lang naman mabayaran na maayos. Char! O isa pa yan, kung bayaran ng maayos, edi yung mga timely, scheduled na payments, no? Ang weird kasi rush yung trabaho natin. Tapos, never naman nating na-demand na rush din yung bayad.
Yes, parang...
Yun, diba? Meron kung rush ka ngayon, kailangan namin siya in 3 days. Okay, pagkatapos ko nito, kailangan ko rin in 3 days yung pera. Pwede ba? Ay, hindi. Kasi 60 days talaga yung ng client. Bahala ka dyan. Hanap ka ng rush. Diba? Hindi na dapat yun pwede. Parang dapat equivalent yung respect. Parang, what if sinabi ko sa sa creatives lang nangyayari yan, na parang what if sinabi ko sa doktor na, ay doc, 60 days na yung bayad. Parang dapat diba diretso?
Sige, x-ray mo 60 days din.
Diba? X-ray mo 60 days din, patay ka na.
Oo.
Saka mo palang malalam. Diba? Sa creative industry lang talaga siya nangyayari. Ewan ko kung bakit. So, yeah, that's the thing.
So, Dear Santa, ayan ang wishlist.
Dear Santa, medyo mahirap, but yeah.
So, sana next year, unti-untiin na natin siya, no? And, like, protection, the system as well, anyone who can stand up from the government as well will be representing the creatives, especially in the next years to come. And, yeah, thank you very much for representing your community.
Thank you for having me.
Unkaboggable craft here in the Anong Arte Mo podcast. And Tita Thysz, one last thing. Tita Thysz, ano ang arte mo?
Ang creative arte ko ay ang mga bongga at memorable events na nabubuo ko as an event producer and writer. So that's it.
Once again, your unkaboggable writer who matched Vice Ganda's freak, Tita Thysz Estrada. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. That wraps up our first episode of the Anong Arte Mo podcast, brought to you by Pet Talks Podcast. See you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Pet Talks Podcast. Pet Talks Podcast. Pet Talks Podcast. Pet Talks Podcast.